What's up, guys? So we have been just going over these older Samsung flagships. Today we got the S10 Plus here, one of my favorites. And a lot of people love these phones. They asked me to go ahead and just do a revisit of these phones, simply because, especially overseas, these phones are very cheap. They're very good alternatives to mid-range phones and budget phones, because like here in the USA you get it for like 200 bucks, and they're much cheaper overseas as well too. So they are a good alternative option. You guys know how I feel about older flagship phones. Always prefer these over mid-range or budget devices. So what's pretty interesting about the S10 series in general here is that this was the generation, before Samsung started to really take things away, like the headphone jack on here. This phone also has SD card support, and then you slowly start to see with the the S20 series, they took away the headphone jack, and then with the S21 series, they took away the SD card support to, basically sell you up on higher configurations, and to basically sell you up on, buying wireless earbuds. Now, I have my opinions about that, but yeah, so let's go ahead and just dive into it and see how is the S10 Plus still standing up. Now, what's awesome about the S10 Plus is this was the year that Samsung introduced their punch hole displays. Remember, Samsung never did the notch. They just waited until their punch hole display technology was ready. And this is Samsung's dynamic AMOLED display. It still looks beautiful. Even looking at the S9's display, the S8's display, Samsung was really ahead of the game in terms of displays. Those displays still look beautiful. It's a 1440p panel on here. It's 6.4 inches, which is pretty funny because usually plus size phones these days are like 6.8. 6.5 at the smallest. So this 6.4 kind of still feels a little bit small, considering that it's a plus size phone. Because I have smaller hands. This phone is kind of comfortable. I'm very comfortable with using this phone. I can kind of almost one-hand it. But yeah, so beautiful display, still colorful, vibrant. Also, it gets fairly bright outdoors as well too. Very high PPI, 522 for the PPI. This is a sharp display. Now, a lot of people don't like this punch hole, double punch hole display up top. It's really not that bad, especially if you put a darker wallpaper on here, if you just really don't like it. There is software where you can hide it, but honestly, once you use it for a couple of days, your eyes just pretty much ignore it. Now, this phone got the Android 12 update when you are 4.1, and they just ended security patches for this phone as well too, unfortunately. Very sad. And yeah, it's still a very fast phone when gaming. The Snapdragon 855 chip is crazy fast on this phone. I actually prefer to game on these older chips like the 855 and the 865 because they don't seem to get as hot, and also they don't seem to like get those frame stutters and stuff like that if you're playing for a long time, like some of the AAA phones. And believe it or not, if you get a Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, that phone is able to play PUBG at 90 frames, which I think is pretty cool. This one can't quite do it. Yeah, it can't do it, but it still plays really smooth at HDR Extreme. So it's able to play PUBG consistently at 60 frames for sure here. And it's just a really, really fast experience here. So again, Snapdragon 855, micro SD card support. The base is 128 gigs, 6 gigs of RAM. This is a 8 gig of RAM version, I believe, and it's very, very fast. And like I said, a great alternative to a mid-range phone, a budget phone. I would pick this up if I'm a competitive PUBG player. Then I'm definitely gonna pick up older flagship phones. Just get better looking game and better consistent frame rates. Now, taking a look at the design of this phone, I think it still looks pretty good. Still looks fairly modern still. I love this color on here simply because I can't see fingerprints on this, specific colors. If you get like the darker blue color, you can kind of see a lot of smudges and stuff. But this one always looks clean. So I really love it. It just looks spotless on, on the camera. Design still looks great. Like I said, headphone jack, IP68 dust and water resistant. Still looks very nice, premium device. Nothing feels cheap about this phone. I will say, compared to other plus size phones, it's a very light phone, considering a S21 Ultra or the newer phones. It does feel kind of light, but it still looks premium. Still feels premium. This phone also has stereo speakers. Very good sounding stereo speakers, great bass quality, very good mids and highs. You also have face unlock, you also have in-display fingerprint sensor that works very well. And then you also have all your additional features like Samsung desktop support on here, reverse wireless charging, and all that good stuff, NFC. So it's still pretty much loaded with a lot of the flagship features. Now the cameras on the S10 Plus are still pretty good. It's just what you would expect, right? So it's got a 12 megapixel standard, a 12 megapixel telephoto. It can do 2x optical zoom. It's got a 16 megapixel ultra wide, and it's also got 4K 60 video, and then a 10 megapixel selfie that does 4K 60, and then an 8 megapixel depth sensor also. So that's what that dual punch hole camera is. So yeah, basically the pictures still look great in really good lighting. The pictures look still really good. Dynamic range is pretty good. But like I said, you start to notice the age of the camera if you take it out of good lighting. So any type of lighting that's not like really well, so it could be like maybe indoor lighting is not very lit, or sort of like low light photography and stuff, you're not gonna get the best detail. The photos are gonna look a little soft. So you can expect stuff like that. So if you're not in really good lighting, you'll start to notice the age of the camera. If you're in good lighting, you really won't notice. Like, the camera is beautiful still, even in today, 2023, beautiful camera still. It still looks great. So I just really like it. The ultra wide still looks great. The main camera takes some beautiful photos. Check out my S10 Plus comparison to the S22, the S23. Check those out so you can actually see what I'm talking about. It still takes very, very good shots for an older phone. Like I said, I think the main things that I saw age was low light photography, and also the selfie cam just didn't have a ton of detail. I just felt like even in outdoor lighting, I still looked a little soft. But other than that, great cameras, great video, just a beast of a phone. Alright, so the battery experience on this phone is still pretty good. It's got a 4,100 milliamp hour battery, 15 watt charging on here, which is very slow. Like, that's also another thing that kind of makes it feel a little aged, is just super slow charging. But you also have wireless charging and reverse wireless charging. I can squeeze a day of battery life out of this phone. I'll do a battery drain test for you guys if you guys want that. But yeah, so what do you guys think about the S10 Plus? It's a very awesome phone. Even if you get it as a backup phone, or even if you are overseas, you want to get it as a main phone, I would definitely do it. Just know that you're not getting security patches anymore, so you're going to have to install some type of antivirus software. You don't have to, because I've been using these phones without any antivirus software, but if you want to be safe, they have free programs for that you can download in the Play Store. But yeah, so very awesome phone. Be sure to let me know what you guys think, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.